Hey, what's up, beautiful souls? Happy Wednesday. I hope that this message finds you in a centered place, and I hope this message finds you in a loving place. I know times are really tough for humanity right now, but we are on the downslide of things, and I say that with full confidence and full knowing that really beautiful times are ahead, and it may be difficult to see, but we are in such a huge shift in human consciousness, and it is so beautiful when you can look at the big picture and the macro picture. If you can step outside of your own stresses and your own troubles with what this is causing, whether the virus has directly affected you or your loved ones, or it's indirectly affected you with employment, finances, whatever it may be. I pray for you. I truly do. But I want to offer this message as a message of hope, and I know my last few messages have been along the same lines, but it's the one that I am being guided to continue to share because it is so difficult. Life has gotten so difficult for people to see outside of themselves because we rush around from place to place, constantly grinding, constantly trying to impress, constantly competing, constantly comparing, and it's gotten to such a toxic place. And there's so many layers to the toxicity, and we're seeing it in the collective right now. And you know, when you incarnate on this earth as an individual, you have free will, and then the collective is God's will. And God obviously plays, you being created in the image of God and being a fractal of God, obviously God plays a huge role, the creator role, in your reality. But God has given us free will to create unique experiences through our ego, and the ego is not meant to be killed; it's meant to be balanced. But anyways, as you go and incarnate in this on this earth, you are given lessons, and they keep getting louder if you don't take the lessons and integrate them into your life and evolve from the lessons, because there's hardships, there's beautiful things, there's all kinds of happenings that occur in our life that are there specifically to teach us a soul lesson for our evolution. And our life has become so ego driven and so competition driven that we don't stay still at all. We don't sit with our thoughts. We'd rather hide from them because we know they're dark. We would rather stay distracted from the truth because the truth is very painful. And when you hide from the shadows and you deny the truth, which a lot of times, especially in an egoic society, the truth lies in the shadows. And people are petrified of the shadows because it's the unknown, because the darkness is just lack of information. And when you don't shine your light on that darkness, you're not collecting any information. So when the darkness slaps you in the face with a death or whatever the darkness is that occurs in your life, it blindsides us because we are not even aware that it's a possibility. And when we refuse to sit with our shadows, our own shadows, and really think about life on a bigger scale outside of ourselves, where we could really see from another person's perspective on why they would act a certain way, or how it would be possible for a human to commit such atrocities. Those things blindside us because we don't sit with our own shadows. Everything is internal, and what I try to explain to people is, other human beings are a mere reflection of aspects of yourself. And if those people are triggering you, they could be triggering traumas from your past. They could be triggering the darkness within you. And when I say darkness, I don't necessarily mean something bad. It's not good or bad. It's just lack of information. So if you haven't sat with that possibility within yourself, it comes out as a complete shock. So what this virus has done, what this shutdown has done, is God's will is now playing out over the individual will and the free will of humanity, because we have refused, and I say we collectively, I know there's a lot of people, putting in shadow work and sitting with their demons and sitting with their traumas and healing these traumas and consciously thinking about life on a grander scale. But the collective is competition driven, money driven, power driven, control driven. And God's will is being put into place with the alignment of our stars and moving fully into Aquarius. We've been in the age of Aquarius for a while, but we've had some lingering energies from the past age of consciousness that have hung around, and we're ridding ourselves of these energies, and we're moving fully into Aquarius. But to do that, the collective has to sit still with the shadows and has to come to grips with the possibility of the darkness of the human soul and the dark night of the soul, if you will. Because if you believe in miracles and you believe in the greatness of God, you have to believe in the darkness, and you have to know what God is capable on the other end of good in this human reality, because God encompasses all. And it's our job as free will individuals to continue to climb that ladder to higher energies and to higher realms, and understand that it is easy to fall into those darker places, especially when bad stuff happens to you. But we cannot get caught in repeated cycles of negative happenings and just chalk it up as, oh, I'm cursed, or I'm, this is just my life. Thanks God. Why would God do this? I don't even believe in God because my life has been so shitty. We got to stop taking that thought process to heart. It's not God doing it to you. It's something that you have set out to encounter so you can learn from it. When it gets repetitive and it continues to happen, it's because you're not learning from it. So here we are in the middle of a pandemic. The whole world's quarantined. It's the politicians shutting stuff down, but look what this divine plan has done for humanity. If you can choose to see it in this light, and I pray that you do, you're at home with your families. You're questioning everything because the mainstream narrative is not making sense. Things aren't adding up, and more people are waking up to the darkness of the truth of how manipulated our mainstream narrative is, and how it can, the sun's starting to beam out. Storm just rolled through. Very fitting, thank you. But now we're being forced to sit with the shadows. We're being forced to slow down because we can't do it on our own, because we've got to be at this appointment. We got to have this, whatever it is. Plug in your life to that scenario. Whatever keeps you moving to a point where I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to eat healthy. I've got to eat on the go. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time. Time is a man-made thing. You have to make time for yourself to take care of your mind, body, and your spirit. And another thing, we get so psychologically caught up in traumas and stuff, and it's hard to think about them and hard to surface them. But what we don't put together is the fact that movement and exercise and yoga and foam rolling and a million other different techniques that you could dive into with your physical body, that those physical actions will help you transmute that negative energy that your soul is carrying on to or hanging on to, that is attached to your vessel, or that is attached to your spirit through those traumas and those negative energy happenings. So I challenge you to think about your life. Think about the lessons that have come and gone in your life, and think about the lessons that continue to get louder and louder in your life. Think about where you're at right now. We've had 2 weeks to a month of being at home with our loved ones. How are your relationships blossoming? Are they falling apart? Are you seeing the areas that you haven't addressed in your personal relationships? Are you allowing them to be amplified by continuing to ignore them rather than communicate with the other person? It's really a beautiful time, you guys. Life has slowed down for us because we haven't been able to do it ourselves. So take this time, dive deep within, question the narrative, question everything, question what I'm saying right now. I don't need you to take my word for gospel. I need you to find your truth. And that's all my mission is on this earth, is to share my reflections of my own experience so that perhaps it can trigger reflections in your own life and help open you up to the possibility of higher realms being able to interact with us as humans and have our back and really get us back to faith, because that's another thing. God has been forced out of the mainstream narrative for so long, separation of church and state, and the church has turned into controlling money machine, and some of the Catholic Church has turned into a pedophile, sex slave, whatever, whatever the hell is really going on. I don't know, question everything. I mean, there are proofs that these things are happening, but that's my truth. So collect all the information you can and develop a practice where you can sit with it and see what resonates with you. What I teach the kids that I work with is collect every bit of information from the left, from the right, from the top, from the bottom. Collect everything that you can get your hands on and then bring it back to the stillness of that exhale. The answers will surface, I promise you. And it's not my truth. It's not your neighbor's truth. It's not the news's truth. It's your and God's truth. So tap in, dive in. Don't be scared of diving into the shadows. That you've survived 100% of your worst days. You're still here. And death is just an illusion anyways. Honestly, it's a release back into the infinite. Some would say it's freeing you of the human prison of the dualistic reality that we live in. But for me, that eliminates the fear of death and allows me to live a more fulfilled life and a more abundant life, because all I need is my breath and the love that I have around me and the love that radiates from my heart. And I know that I'll always be taken care of if I live from my heart. A dear brother of mine taught me that many years ago, and so beautiful. Huge part of my understanding now. So I pray for you. I pray for humanity. I pray for everybody that is going through hardships with this virus, everybody that is going through mental hardships, everybody that was already experiencing mental health problems and now they're confined to their homes, to allow them to be amplified with no means of helping themselves because they haven't been taught. We're not taught how to take care of ourselves. We're taught to keep going and ignore it. Eventually it'll go away. You're right, it'll go away right into your subconscious to surface later as disease, mental illness, whatever it may be. So prayers to everyone. I love you guys so much. I hope this video helps. I hope it shines light, because that's what this world needs right now, is light. And if you need some, holla at your boy.